A hero among the Goliath of the Ash Wastes, Axon Hammer is the brutal leader of the Iron Tree Reavers. A Natborn from Cinderak City, Axon was brought up among the Ash Waste nomad raids and toxic dust storms. Even from his early days as a prospect, Axon's talents leaned not just into killing outlanders and winning fistfights, but also working on the maulers, rigs and runners of his clan. While still a member of the Red Road Brotherhood gang, he built his custom Cargo 8 from the wreckage of a Mercator Gelt Ridge Runner. Covered in armour plates, spikes and rivet cannon, he dubbed it the Behemoth and set about carving out a bloody name for himself and his gang in the Great Crater and beyond. Today, Axon is an adventurer and road warrior who stalks the Spider Points in the shadow of the Palatine Cluster. He plagues the Orlok trade routes, so much so that the clan house has placed a massive bounty on his head, and operates out of both Primus and Trezor for his Goliath masters. He also ranges far and wide across the great equatorial wastes, is reputed to have explored the warrens beneath the Cinder Deeps, and even as far as the tunnels that connect the Dust Wall to the ruins of Hive Secundus. During the Great Darkness, Axon joined with Gorshiv in the attack on Cinderak City and the Ash Gates, personally scouring the Spider Points of Escher Outriders. With the war between the clans just getting started, Axon is now turning his attention to the growing battle for Hive Temenos and the Saints' Waste, the loyal brothers of the Iron Tree Reavers at his back. Howdy, and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon, and this is the series where I give you all of the agents of Necromunda in a little bite-sized video. Please do like, share, subscribe, and check out the Patreon, and support the channel any way you can before I get into this video. Axon Hammer, arguably the most terrible name that Games Workshop has come up with so far. I mean, it's almost as bad as Durgan Killfist, not quite so bad, but being positive, I do quite like this guy, Axon Hammer. Terrible name, but he looks quite cool. Now, this one's a miniature available from Forge World, of course, to add to the absolute plethora of other Goliath miniatures you have. This one's quite unique, though, because he isn't close combat focused, necessarily. And the miniature is quite nice. The typical sort of Goliath trappings in terms of the style of the armour, the Mohican, etc. But he does have a nice big cloak, which gives him a bit of sort of regal look to himself. And he's got a ranged weapon, which is unusual for Goliaths generally. So this one is the only one with an actual dedicated ranged sort of profile. And he is that in the game as well. He's certainly more of a shooter than he is a fighter, kind of. In terms of his cost and stuff, if you're going to hire him as an agent for your Goliath gangs, he's 100 credits at the cheapest and 200 credits at the most when it comes to your D6 plus rep table result there. So if you want to petition him, that's how much he costs, 100 or 200 credits, or not at all. And in terms of the stats and whatnot, we've got a movement of 4, ballistic skill and weapon skill of 3+, strength and toughness of 4, 3 wounds, initiative of a 4-up, I believe, or 3-up, 3 attacks. In fact, hold on a second. What's happening here? Leadership 5+, cool 4+, willpower 7+, intelligence 6+. Those are the stats there. Yeah, 3 attacks. Sorry, I had something in the way of me there. 3 attacks, 3 wounds, initiative 4-up. Now, this guy comes with Fists of Steel, which is a pretty cool sort of muscle skill there. It means that your unarmed attacks are damage 2 and +2 strength. So your strength 6, you're wounding most guys on a 2, and your damage 2, but no AP. Pretty nice because he doesn't actually have a close combat weapon there at all, but he's also got hip shooting, which is really nice to have on a guy and very, very unusual in a Goliath gang, I have to say, especially as you don't get access to shooting skills at all. So hip shooting's nice, meaning that you can run and gun with his shooting weapon that we're going to have a look at in a second. With his ballistic skill of 3+, it's pretty good. You know, you're only quite slow, but moving 8 inches and being able to shoot is pretty unique to Goliath, I have to say. So he does offer something unique to Goliaths there. He has the bolter plasma gun combi weapon, which is an interesting weapon. Bolters and plasma guns are both great weapons. Of course, when you make them a combi weapon, it makes them a little bit less reliable. Now, The reason being is that your bolt gun and plasma gun, both very effective damage dealing weapons, but they've both got shit ammo. One is scarce, one is not. And as a combi weapon, you have to roll twice, you know, on the ammo checks and stuff. So it does make it mean that you're probably only ever going to fire the plasma gun once or twice and the bolt gun once or twice in a game as well. It's not necessarily a problem. You might get lucky, but you might get really unlucky and end up only shooting both of those once in a game. It certainly happens a lot for me. War gear, we've got frag grenades, furnace plates, and a refractor field, which is really nice. Refractor field is an invuln save of a 5+ there, I believe, and the furnace plates there as well to back it up. Frag grenades, always nice to have. Again, they're sort of 30 credits normally, so it's nice that that's thrown in there too. And he's got a bunch of special rules here as well. I just highlighted Fists of Steel. That's what his unarmed attacks do. But he's also got the Waste's Most Wanted. So Axon Hammer has one of the highest bounties on his head of any raider in the Wastes. If a gang gets either a memorable death result when taking Axon out of action or captures him, they get 200 credits, which is awesome. So you really want a gun for this guy when he's actually on the table, just so you can try and get that 200 credits. He's also got the you get what you pay for, you know, unlike other fighters, Axon Hammer is not counted during the choose crew step of the pre-battle sequence, so he's extra to your crew size, which is nice as well. In terms of where you might find the rules for this guy, it is, of course, in the Aranthian Succession Vaults of Temenos book, and Axon Hammer is also an outlaw hired gun as well, so he is outlaw only. It says hired gun here, but he's actually an agent. Otherwise, I'd have included him in my hired gun series. So that's Axon Hammer. I quite like him. I like the miniature. You know, it's definitely one of the more understated Goliath miniatures. It's certainly better than Durgan Killfist anyway. And I think a nice addition as a proxy to your Goliath gangs anyway, just using as a champion or a ganger or whatever. But, you know, he doesn't have a particularly unique weapon. You can get that from the trading post anyway. However, on the flip side of that, having that shooting skill of hip shooting is just unique and nice to have, I think. You could use this guy as a outcast leader as well, but do talk to your arbitrator about costing him, because 100 credits and 200 credits is probably still too cheap for this guy, considering the weapons and war gear that he comes with. The refractor field's quite expensive. The bolter plasma combi weapon is quite expensive as well, as his stat line is pretty good too. So he's decent in close combat, pretty good at shooting. Nice to have, and yeah, I think overall, if it was me, I would just get his model and use it as a sort of proxy in a Goliath gang for a champion or something maybe. But you've got a few options there with Axon Hammer, and that's my 2 cents on him anyway, so I'll be back with another video real soon. Peace out.